similar to the lullaby my grandmother used to sing. Funny, the monsters don't come from under the bed when she was around. Her embrace was like being immersed in the smell of cinnamon. Her presence warm, her hum sweet sound waves reverberating and rocking me softly. Take them all, oh, if only for freedom, oh, oh. It was one of those nights in West Africa, and a crowd sunsets are remains of mangoes placed on the equator, melted in the sky painter in the sweltering heat of the midday. Spirits in purgatory are responsible for painting dusk, and I would pray as we would head north to Kumasi. The doctors in our camp would find medicine in the leaves, pull out a miracle like cartoon characters pulling out acne. Why couldn't we conveniently find the cure embedded in the oils of the trees? Read each ring to find the answers we've been missing in American. His company sent him to Ghana 6 months prior. One night his wife opened the envelope required by his company for his health benefits. It must be the food of the third-rate facilities. I must have touched one of them or laid in their bed sheets. Uneducated about his options, he left around midnight and raped 5 children. Said he would find a cure in the flower petals of a virgin. 9 and bright-eyed, bigger than the soup sauces I was forced to bring her, and he was one of them. Determined to bribe me into bringing her fufu and couscous. Like most people that challenge the status quo, she suffered from being intelligent. Said she wanted her vocabulary broadened so in heaven she could speak to God in English. He must be American. I clench my fingers until they bleed. Dip my body in the stream they said was holy. I pray every night, but my father won't visit me. Funny, I whispered. I'm determined to learn Yoruba and Swahili so God will at least recognize me. When she wasn't sleeping, she made me a vocabulary list. Madawase, Akwaba, Etise, Iye. I could barely concentrate. Shaking her bed frame, tell me what he looks like. I'll search the 650 million on the continent to find him. He ripped her hymen like butterfly razors to silk linen, killing her with each thrust, tearing her walls until there was bloodshed. Notice I was frustrated. She said the best vengeance for our enemies is to let them live with their memories. Their deaths will be dark. Not dark like black, dark like forgotten, and their souls erased from the history of the world. Besides, he couldn't steal my virginity. He may have damaged the vessel, but God saves it in a box in heaven, lined with angel feathers until my wedding. Why could the myths be true? Let me find a monkey's blood for her wounds, but there's no drinking bleach to clean the disease. Only AZT and a few other drugs reserved for the wealthy. And a prolonged life is in herbs and healthy eating. Ayo, adabe, adwante. There is no food here, no nutrition in the garbage the Americans send us, urban-legend lies. Africans are not the ones most promiscuous. Our youth program cringes from planning a sex ed field trip to the free clinic. Panic when the students take too long to study the survey. Glance around and hide their answers with their arms. We peel back their fingers to reveal over 20 partners each. I am anxious and distracted during tonight's lesson. How can I justify how the U.S. claims to prevent AIDS in Africa and the same breast disease AIDS in Africa? A permissionless government that fingers us in the Oval Office. The FCC that bans Sarah Jones for female empowerment, but lets Nelly start teabagging. Over 1.5 million children are concerned that they're going to see their parents before their deaths in the morning, and their biggest fear should be if their team is going to make playoffs for Little League. Before she left me, I told her one last lie. Masanaba, I'll be back. And she replied, Marvin, eyelids stinging like needles, my logic, if I didn't move, she wouldn't stop breathing. I rocked her in a hammock I made of fresh linen, decorated her hair with wildflowers, picked out her favorite dress and whispered a tiny name. When I closed my eyes, I could still see the miniature graves where we would gather and pray. The news came back to our camp before we left. The American was sentenced to death. To avoid being tortured, he confessed he contracted AIDS at home from his mistress in Maryland. Careless, he put his family at risk and blamed it on his business trip. Instead of being careful, he gets the maximum for his murder charges. And when prisoners find out he killed 5 little girls, he won't make it past stalemate initiation, and I will be happy with that. And sometimes in a witching hour, a noise will wake me, and I know Annie has brought the children to hear me sing, so take them all home. If only freedom, oh, 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 oh. Take them all home. If only freedom, if only freedom, if only freedom, oh, oh, oh. Every 6 months. Get tested every